Okay, so let me share my screen. So welcome to this first ensemble in the live tech coaching experiment. So we'll start off with Guillaume and me in the only participants in Ensemble, and Eric is setting up his repository, so he will maybe join after a while. So I usually start ensembles with a goal discussion. So let's start there, but I have a suggestion to get us started, because having a goal discussion is important that you have a team that kind of can align, and we're a completely new team. We met each other now this morning. So perhaps you will be happy with this idea, which is a concept I learned about 2009 at a conference on software craftsmanship. This acronym stands for programming in the small. So the idea with programming in the small is that you start with the little things that can just improve the code base in a very gradual, small way. So like things like formatting the files, just format them for readability, or rename the variables, like formatting. I'll just give examples: formatting, or rename variables. And maybe just follow linting rules. Just these small details, the programming in the small parts. So I really like this concept because it means that you don't have to do so big restructuring, or you don't have to do big redesigns. It really improves readability. So I think it's a very gentle way to start off when you're working with a code base. Just do the small things. So my suggestion for our first goal is just let's do this together for this code base, so we get to know it a little bit, not on the depth, but we'll at least have seen all files, and perhaps we can have another goal discussion after we've done that. So that's my suggestion. We start there, Guillaume and me. So we're going to do this with a structured approach to ensembling, or mob programming, as it's also more popularly called. This means that we rotate quickly, usually like in some minutes, and also that we use these hats, roles, to help the flow, help each other learn. Just out of curiosity, could you raise your hand if you have participated in an ensemble or mob before? Thomas, Eric, what about Lev and Gea and Jonas?
No.
Cool. So I'll do my best to be a navigator now, Guillaume. I think it's a good way to start, and then we'll shift maybe every 5 minutes or so. So I'll put up a little tag to remind us who is doing what. Typist is the one with the keyboard and the control of the code at the moment. So only one at a time.
Typist, okay.
Yep. And I will navigator. And then maybe we can use the timer of Miro to switch. Cool, let's do this together. So Guillaume, will you share your screen since you're the typist?
Okay, I'm going. Okay. Yep. Let me just improve your Git ignore first.
Wait, stop. Let's pause immediately. Okay. So this, yes, that's very good. I think it's very good that you do this, because this is something you have to get used to as a typist. your role is to listen in on the team, particularly the
Okay.
navigator then. So you don't make decisions on your own.
Okay.
So I think that's a very good first lesson here. So as a typist, your primary kind of skill is that you're really good at listening, and also perhaps good at dropping your own ideas. You will be navigating very soon, in 5 minutes, so you will have a chance to do those things. But I do think you have a good point here. So as a navigator, I'd like to. My intent now is to improve the. Let me start the timer again. So improving the git ignore. Could you just explain what you wanted to improve, Guillem?
Yeah. Well, let me just show you. There's a very nice website, which is gitignore.io. And I just put there Maven, Java, IntelliJ, macOS, Windows, and it creates a git ignore for you.
Cool.
Sorry.
I really like that. Please go ahead and replace our git ignore with this.
Okay. Now you have to see my new git ignore here. Okay. It's everything. It's the idea folder.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I like it. Let's do it. Let's take it.
Okay, let me just save it and git status. Okay, add git ignore. Okay, already added. Do you want me to commit?
Yeah, I'd like to see.
Okay.
I like to see what you're doing. So please show your terminal, or
Okay.
I don't know how you.
Here, better.
Great.
Okay. I just added the git ignore.
Good. So I think this is probably an example of P.I.T.S, programming in the small. Just improve those small annoyances. So these were annoyances surrounding artifacts or files that weren't supposed to be in the repo. So now I'd like to focus on the code. So let's just start from the top arrow listener.
Arrow listener, okay.
Yeah, let's see if there is something we can just look at. So that's very thank you for zooming in. So this looks very, very, can't see anything right now. So let's go for the next.
Okay. But you cannot see anything in the code. You see
I mean, I can't see anything to clean up right now.
Okay.
So thank you. So here, let's zoom it out a little bit. I can see it's very big now. Thank you. So I think one thing we could do here directly is just this. For example, row 17 gets the color of this block. I think that's a pointless comment.
Pointless comment.
Yeah. So let's remove that one. And the same with the next one. So this is just decluttering. I think my opinion on comments is that they should explain parts that are not self-explanatory, and these are self-explanatory. So for example, the comment on row 27 contains some information, I think, because it's giving us some explanation of if this block is not contained in a grid, that's just a null then. So I think that's a more valuable comment. So let's keep that one. The same with the next.
You want to keep this, the 33?
Yeah, it has same
okay.
Information content, this null idea. What do you think about the next comment?
Remove this block from its grid. Precondition the block is contained in the grid.
Yeah, we'll keep it for now. It's
okay.
Yeah, but here on the next one, I can see some. We could just rename, for example, GR. It's probably a shortcut for grid. Let's just rename it to grid.
This one.
Yeah, the variable. Yeah.
You mean to rename
variable
here?
Yeah.
Okay. Refactor, rename, all code occurrences, and it's glit.
Yeah. Cool. No, I think we could ready for a commit. Maybe made some changes.
Okay. This file is some let's say, how can I say it? Some refactor? No, it's not a refactor.
Maybe P.I.T.S.
Okay, P.I.T.S. on blog.java. Git push.
Cool. And we have a timer, so we will switch.
Okay.
I just want to give you another Ensemble enabler. It is called Typist Recap. It's quite a hard enabler, but I think it's really good too. So it means that when you do the switch, as a typist, you try to articulate in very brief, like a couple of sentences, what we did. And that this helps the team understand what's the red thread, what are we doing, and it particularly helps the next navigator if was a bit unsure. So would you try to tell us very shortly, briefly what we did? Willem?
Yes, sorry, yeah.
What did we do?
What we do next?
Sorry? Guillem?
Yes.
So I was suggesting that you do a typist recap. So the idea is that you express in a high level what we did.
Yes, we just remove some comments and we just rename one variable.
Cool. And what was the intent of that? Why did you do that?
To clean the code a little.
Yeah.
And to just get familiar with the code.
Cool. Thank you. So then I'll start the timer, and you will be navigating me. And I think I'm sharing my screen now.
Sorry, I was muted. Yes, we just go to block display. No, block. No, block it's not yet finished. Let's go to line like 35. Okay, we just check, return the grid, get the location of this block. Maybe this comment 35, this line 35, it's something that it's redundant, no? It's something that we can.
We could have a pause the timer moment. So that's when you're a bit uncertain and we need to talk a bit about an approach. Yeah. So I'll just pause the timer. So I invite everyone to join this. We're just me. So what do you think about comments? What should we do? It's our code base. We decide. Thomas, you seem to have an opinion.
I think my personal preference is to have fewer comments needed to understand the code and improve the readability of the code itself. So that can be by either renaming methods, names, variables names, or alike. I personally am not hesitant of having relatively long method names to make them more explanatory. And I think also the code itself should probably express more what is the intent there. And sometimes it can help to extract some part of the code to a submethod, because then the submethod gets a name, and the name describes the intent of what's happening there. So that's another way to increase readability of code, in my opinion, and reduces the need for comments.
Thank you. Gia and Jonas?
I mean, sort of like Thomas, I think you should always strive to, write clean code that is self-explained. But at times, and don't be afraid of like long variable names and method names that is self-explained. But at times, that might not be good enough, and then I think you should be allowed to use some comments, but they should be highly motivated. And especially from our point of view, I consider like comments mostly explaining like the business value of. I can see what the code is doing, but I might not understand why it's doing it in terms of the functionality of the application.
So can I quickly check here with you? What do you think about the statement that comment that describes the how is probably intended to be bad? A comment that describes why is seen as more useful.
Can you take that again? Didn't quite understand what you mean. Did you understand, Jonas?
So the comment that describes the how or the what is happening is probably less useful than a comment that describes the why.
Yeah,
like,
I think there was
like comments like this is a for loop and this is an if statement.
No, those are useless. Those are self-explained.
Yeah.
And I think like in this type of application, maybe they're not that motivated. But if you like when you work on a large code base where you have like a lot of business rules, I find those comments quite useful sometimes. Like I can see what this code is doing, but I have no idea why, how it maps to why we are doing it this way because of some business rule, which I cannot describe with code.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you encounter code that is pretty complex, and you just don't understand why it looks that way, and then a comment adds some value that helps you understand why it's in the state it is.
So, cool.
I mean, if you write high performance code, for example, and it's barely unreadable for a human.
Yeah. So I'd like to. I have a suggestion for the team. If a comment explains the why, we'll keep it. Otherwise, we'll just binge it. And since we are renaming things now, the P.I.T.S rule, we can just try to improve the readability while we do it.
Yeah,
but I'd like to keep us on this track of doing small changes, not starting to extract things and refactoring, because that will be the topic of another session. I think we'll go into more.
Absolutely.
Cool. We have an alignment. Any concerns, Eric? Sorry, Lev.
Yeah, is it possible to make it more specific? For example, there was that comment when said, like, I think like returns null, if in this case, or returns color in another case, like which category does that fall in?
Not sure.
Maybe somebody could share the screen. We can just look at it specifically.
Yeah.
Good question.
I'll share my screen. I'm the typist anyway.
I think I would argue that the description that it returns null in specific cases, for me, that would not be a why. That should be that the code should express this more itself.
Okay, so we don't move on until we refactored it. That should be our strategy. Like we have to, like right now we're dealing, like I mean right now the strategy was to like, let's do a pass through all the comments and delete the ones which are bad. For this comment, ideally we want to delete it, and in order to delete it, we want to rewrite the code. So we're not going to delete it in our first pass, but in the future we'll delete it, right?
I think that sounds good. That sounds good for me.
So we'll add another comment here.
to do.
Yeah.
I think probably the question could be, isn't that self-explanatory by itself, that if it does not exist, then it returns null. So I'm questioning, is this additional information we need? Or is it more like a general agreement that we say, if an object doesn't exist, it's always null. And we accept this on a very higher level to be true.
So I have a radical suggestion. We remove all comments, and we try to improve the code instead. So we can move on. And I'd like to continue coding instead of. I mean, it's good with discussion and that we have alignment, but I would like this is another ensemble neighbor, bias to action. We keep learning by coding, and we can revisit this decision later. Yeah.
Sounds
I mean, you wrote them, right? So that's okay.
Yeah, actually not me. It's an old school project I found on GitHub. So, okay, but Guillem, are you ready to do some navigation? Yeah.
Then we will need to get back to Arrow Listener and check if we have any comments. Okay, no comments in here. Then in blog, in line 9, there's a comment. 16, 21, yeah. The preconditions. Oh, there's a GR. If you go back, yes, these comments have to go out. But in this method, you have a GR that I think we change it to glit in the other functions. And I don't know if there are more GRs on this document. Can you scroll up? No GRs. It says glit. Okay, color, location, grid, and it's everywhere the same. And we're going to maintain this in every part. Yeah. It's this commit and push. You're going to push.
Ooh.
Yes, push the branch mains was rejected.
Did I not
changes? Yeah, I think you did not check out my changes.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
My bad. I didn't want this. Sorry. Oh, they're in the file, or where are the conflicts?
Yes, if you just here. Yeah, you have one conflict in the base version here. That's the only conflict you have.
And probably the change I didn't have was the grid rename.
Yeah.
Anyone know how to fix this? I usually don't merge anymore because I work in Ensemble. How do I fix this?
Yeah, so you have just go to the file without highlighting anything, and indirectly in IntelliJ, you're going to see that it says head and your commit.
Thank you.
Something like that. And I think it's fixed. Yeah. If you save this, you commit and push, it's going to be fixed.
Thank you, Guillem.
Yeah. Yeah, not an expert, but at least these small problems in IntelliJ know to handle that. I think block it's already done. And yeah, you have to say it resolve assert yours. You have to say in here. Okay, yeah. Okay. And push, yeah. Just push rejected. Remember the method. It rejects your push. Yes, rebase. Oh, that's another file that I am not aware of changing anything. That at least test that it says that you have a change. This is small text file.
It's the one that Thomas mentioned before.
Okay. It's already created.
Let's just, should we add it yet? So we get rid of this?
Yes, add it. No?
Yeah.
Okay, you can push.
So memory for myself, don't forget to pull before.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Can you just check that it builds correctly?
Yep.
in just the last thing in main. Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, it builds. Yeah, that's a game.
Yeah. And I heard the bell in the background. So we are switching. Eric, how did it go? Did you get your...
Yeah, I think so. I was at least able to push on a separate branch. I didn't want to interfere with
thanks.
main.
Good. So may you join at will when you want to join us. Join.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Maybe you can be typist then. And,
yeah, sure.
Start navigating.
And we just make super sure.
Cool.
Okay.
So I will be navigating for some minutes, and
you will have to sort of quickly brief me of what you were doing.
Oh yes, sure. Maybe we could.
Okay. Can I ask you something here?
Yeah.
There's always one typist and only one navigator.
In the structured approach I'm teaching, yes.
Okay.
So the way to do ensembling or mobbing is of course very different for many teams. But the way I teach it is I usually talk about it as a when you learn to bike, you have these support wheels. So you get some structure, and I think it's a good starting point. Then you will probably adapt your way of doing ensembling as you learn more. Okay. The most experienced teams I've been doing ensembling with, they have multiple navigators and kind of being more dynamic. But to get started, I think this is a really good approach to learn the ways. Who was Typist? I don't remember. Was I Typist? Yes, I was, and I was messing up the So Typist recap. We decided, we got a team decision to remove all comments, so I did that, and we spotted another GR abbreviation, fixed that.
In which file was that?
Block.java.
All right.
So we've been gone through the first two files with this P.I.T.S idea, and. I'm actually navigating now again. So Eric, my intention is to do the same thing basically for block display, the next file in the list. So let's just remove all comments.
Okay. Can we search this quickly? Are all comments like that? Oh.
Yeah, you can probably.
I don't know the shortcuts here.
Control Shift R maybe. Or Control R.
I want to find anything that matches.
Yeah.
That.
Olof, I think you have to start a timer.
Oh, thanks. Could you do it?
No, I think I don't have the rights to do so.
Okay, I'll do it. Nice. Yeah. Let's make a commit, just quick P.I.T.S commit. So that's done. So my intention now is just to look at variable names. Could we improve the variable names in the block display? So let's look through the file together.
Sorry, didn't catch that.
So I want to improve variable naming. Just looking at maybe we could look at the members first. Grid, board, frame, listener. That looks good. Oh, thanks. That's another one. I did see an E further below. That's an event, I believe. Interrupted exception actually. We could improve that.
Is it possible to get Visual Studio shortcuts here somehow?
Yes, if you click Shift. Shift, then you get a search everything, and you could type key map, I believe, key map, and then you can pick the top one, and you can choose Visual Studio.
Nice.
Nice.
And what do you want to call this?
Exception. It actually suggested the second hit there. Yeah. And then let's see if we can find some more. Col is a column, I believe. We could rename that one. And maybe something further below. Same thing here. And lock is a location. It has a suggestion. Yeah, great. Cool. Let's see if we can find some more. You have a lot of ease there.
Mm.
Nice. It's a commit. P.I.T.S. Maybe? Or maybe. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, we haven't discussed how our commit messages yet, but
Every discussion.
yeah, at some point. Cool. Yeah, let's go with the next file.
Right.
And I think if you want to do a search and replace in this file for the comments, or maybe there's no comments. Cool. Oh yeah, this is a really interesting file. Just a little quick. I haven't looked too much into this code, but this file caught my interest because it's a second main. It's another program, and what it is a self-test. It's testing things in this software. So it's not unit tests or on your automatic test, but it's like a manually brewed automatic test. So I think this is really interesting, and it's called Grid Monster. So I really like this. It looks like an innovation of the people that wrote the school project. They kind of invented their own automatic test framework by just doing exceptions like this. I kind of love it. One of the sessions will be converting this to unit tests, I believe. So maybe we don't need to spend too much time on it. I think we can just move to the next.
Another style of comments.
Yeah. So it seems to be better names in this file. It's readable. It's not abbreviated, but there is a thing which could go under the heading of programming in the small, and I think I'll show you soon when we're done with the comments. Oh, so you want to do a Typist recap, Eric?
Yeah, so we've been cleaning up comments and fixing some variable names in block display and location. And a question here, is it typically a good idea to just break in the middle, or is it better to finish off, for example, the comments in this file before committing and switching positions?
It depends, but what do you think, Eric?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of like to just commit, and it kind of gets the next person going faster.
I like that idea. That's right. So this next round is you, Eric, will be navigating Gillem.
Okay.
All right, yeah, so yeah.
Okay, everything
Good.
up to date.
Yeah, so let's keep going in location.java.
Location.
And yeah, let's start by cleaning
All the comments, no?
Yeah. So you missed one.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh, here.
line 40.
And here.
Yeah, pretty good. So maybe just scroll through the file and to verify that we have. Not yeah, you have 2 comments at the top here as well. On line 3 and
Yeah.
4 that we can. Pretty good. So let's commit that, and then we can proceed with removing some unused properties or whatever you call them in Java.
Okay.
Pretty good. Okay, so I see that there are some unused. What are they? Fields, properties, something in Java.
You have these 2.
Yeah,
No.
and a few more. All
Okay.
the gray ones, basically. So the one at line 6,
Okay,
line
left.
8. Yeah. So let's just get rid of those.
So I'm just going to do a little coach's interruption. I'm raising my finger. It means that I have an opinion or something I want to say, and it's up to the navigator to kind of
Please.
check with me or not. What my concern here was that you were removing by hand. You're removing the properties by hand. I think you can just use automatic refactoring to do it, so it's cleaned out anywhere. But they were not used, so maybe not. But in general, I really prefer automatic refactorings. So anytime I see an opportunity, I want to say it. In this case, it would be the same, I think. But cool. So the finger in there pattern is just that you raise your finger if you want to discuss something, and it's up to the navigator to decide if you want to block the flow. Cool.
Thank you. Okay, so yeah, let's commit this as well. Oh no, we have an unused method as well that we can get rid of.
And then you say to do this. Save delete is what you were mentioning.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Save
this and everywhere.
Okay, so it didn't want to, or why wasn't it removed?
If we remove this, I don't know what's going to happen with this. Okay, it's just reference or what it is.
Did you try removing the method, or what did you try?
It's just references. Yeah. If we remove the method, let's say okay. Okay, this is also not used. Refactor, save delete. Okay. Okay.
Pretty good.
Check.
So now
everything it's not used. Okay.
Beautiful.
Let me just. Oh, sorry, no sizes until here. Here. Let me just try one thing. Because we remove a lot of code. Okay.
Yeah.
It seems to work. Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Let me just also run that list test. Approval app pressed. Okay. It seems to work.
Pretty good. So please commit.
Location Java refactor. Non-usages. Oh, okay.
Pretty good. So let's simply move on to my bounded grid.
Okay, my bounded grid.
And same procedure, I would recommend. Pretty good. So that's a commit as well, I believe.
Okay. Is my bounded bleed. Okay. My bounded bleed comments.
Pretty good. Then let's have a look at the variable names here. See if we can improve them one at a time. So we have calls, for example.
Okay, rows and columns, no? Something like that.
Yeah.
Like columns.
Good.
Rename this. But of columns. Okay.
Shift F.
Oh,
Shift F6 seems to be your shortcut for that.
I didn't change properly. Columns.
And what is none?
It says here, do the refactoring code. My bounded bleed. Okay, in the string comments. Okay, do the refactor, yeah.
Okay, I'm going to interrupt the flow of in the air because
Okay.
I've been trying to say something. for
Sorry,
minutes.
I don't see you waving. Is it possible to sort of interrupt more in the middle of the screen somehow?
Yeah, you can do raise my hand in the emoticons too, but that wasn't seen.
Sorry,
No,
sorry.
So two things. One thing is that you can help someone that is raising a finger, and if you notice that the navigator is so focused on the code and the flow that it's not happening, you can just help out by raising your finger too and say, oh. Dia raises her finger and says, I see Olof has been holding his finger up for a minute or two. So you can help out in that situation. That's one thing. But what I wanted to mention was that you run the tests as a way to make sure nothing broke. That's not good enough because the test is basically, it's just nothing. It's testing nothing.
Okay.
So that was my concern. Also, I'm not so concerned about it because what we're doing is automatic refactorings with the P.I.T.S, just the small things that are not breaking things really. It's if you're using a good refactoring tool like IntelliJ for things like rename and safe delete. Of course, it's even better if you also have automatic tests. You can be even more sure. But I just want to share the knowledge that the tests are not good. We're going to improve this.
Okay.
One of the tests is just assert true, kind of, and the other test is not testing anything. It's just a stub for approval.
Oh yeah.
So,
I was not aware.
Okay,
yeah.
that was my concern. So yep, Typist recap maybe.
Yeah, we changed a lot in here. Let me just slide that everything works. No tests, but okay.
Maybe starting the terrorist is enough for now.
Yeah. And it changes the position. Okay. And let me just make this part. My bounded bleed comments out. Push.
So I will be Typist and Guillem is navigating.
Okay. Okay.
This time I will do a pull first of all.
Oh yes. Pull. Okay, we were in this tetlat before this tetlist, and if we have comments in here or logs, yeah, we have comments here and here. Okay, all the comments out. Let's check the names of the methods and the variables that we have in here. Logs and blogs. I don't know what these logs are. If you want, we can keep it as it is. Blocks, the grid. Blocks maybe are the pieces from the dead list. Okay, and logs, I don't know. 7 locations. I don't know what it is. Then you have the grid, location, and then the pieces. No, let's skip that. Because I was thinking to change logs into locations. It could be good. Oh yes, Olaf. Go on.
Thomas has something to say.
Okay.
So if somebody on the team says something like, I don't know what it is, I personally don't feel really good if we then just move on with this. So I think that should trigger us to do anything about it. And I think probably the more general point I want to bring, the more general concern is that we should be sensitive to specific trigger words or expressions that should kick us immediately into action as a team. What do you think about this?
I think it's particularly interesting if the navigator is not following. Because if we generalize it to the whole team, even the supporters, so we could get endless amount of discussions all the time. So I'm a bit ambivalent on the general idea. But if the navigator is kind of lost, he can always ask for help, or he or she can always ask for help, I think. But I think, what does the rest of the team think?
It's really a trap to get caught up in these endless discussions while mobbing. It's like, yeah, I found that the biggest problem, I think, in ensembles, and they feel kind of useless in the end if you don't make any progress, which is sort of demotivating over time.
Can we then agree that we should at least have a deliberate decision if we want to address this right away, or if we postpone it to another point in time, but not let it just slip through, to say, okay,
good idea.
What do we do with this?
Yeah. So we could pause the timer and see if we are going for bias for action, or actually stopping to learn something about this. If enough of the team, if it's only one person that knows about this, maybe that's an opportunity to share the learning about this part of the code. But if no one knows, then I feel like we won't get any wiser by discussing it. Let's just start refactoring and learning about the code. And right now, maybe I have a bit more knowledge about this code than the others here, but not much. I haven't done much to it. Okay. So the idea is that we pause the timer and discuss, should we continue without knowing, or should we address this now? That was the kind of Thomas' suggestion. I like it. Okay. I'll start the timer again.
Okay, then. Let's see what these logs do in the code, at least to know. Yes, one of these. Random blocks 1. Something that is static, no? Set color red, and then in locations. And it's everywhere, like 2, 3, and different colors.
So it's basically like an identifier for the shape, it seems.
Yes. They have 7 shapes, no?
Yeah.
And it's for and logs, I think it's how the shape is built, no? Something like that.
Probably something with blocks, yeah. Tetris blocks, maybe.
Yeah. So let's put logs. Maybe a better name.
Blocks, or what did you say?
Yes, blocks.
Block
1. Block 1. Yeah, I would put block 1, block 2. And I don't know if these titlist pieces have names. I used to use my
maybe.
own names, but
Mhm.
I don't know if they are official.
Yeah, cool. Sadly, I'm looking at the watch and I'm seeing that we're out of time. Now, I will commit this, push it,
Okay.
and we'll go into some a little retro. What? Oh, some checks and things. Let's keep it like that for now. It's a legacy code base. Okay. So thank you very much for the rotations on the session, and let's do a little. Retro. Yes, I put all the ensemble enablers we used on the board. And there's also a page you can look where we have collected a lot of different patterns. So are you comfortable with doing the retro on the recording? I can cut it afterwards. Let's keep recording, and if some concern comes up, I'll remove the retro part. Okay. Retro. So let's have 4 minutes just adding some notes. So I'll put up a little finger if you want to point it at something you want to discuss. Just make a copy and put it on some. I'll have a minute for putting up a little pointer. Okay, I'm moving one of the tickets up. Kind of hard to know if you're allowed to interrupt. Yes, go ahead. Who wants to say something about this one?
That was me. Sorry, I had some trouble finding the mute button here. I think I saw some other notes regarding that, but we had when you switch Typist, like Jonas reacted that you should. Did you not pull when think for commit? Then it was like, aren't you gonna pull? And then we didn't say anything, and then you had this merge conflict, and that could be avoided. Someone else noted it and like said it, but we didn't. So that's kind of hard to know. Are you allowed to say something then or not? Because that could be like kind of now is like kind of easy to deal with, but it could have been harder.
I mean, if we were actual participants in the mob sessions, we would obviously do something, but in this context, when we're observing this whole exercise, it's up to us to know how to.
Yeah. So since this is an experiment, I'm learning about how to do it too, but just an idea popping up for me is that it's okay just to write something in the chat if you're not in the ensemble, or use the finger in there would be okay, I think too.
Good.
Yeah.
I think that goes nicely into my thing, which was how can we better use the wisdom of the crowd. I felt in some situations that we probably would have more knowledge on this team to solve a problem or to have an opinion about how to improve the code that was not part of the ensemble at this point.
Do you think if you were joining the ensemble today, Thomas, it would be less of an issue for you?
So I think it's probably not so much about me, but I felt that, especially when there were only the two of you doing it, that we missed out some skills and knowledge from the whole team. And I think I understand why you're saying, okay, there should be only one driver and one navigator on it. I get this idea, but on the other hand, you have just a very little limited perspective then on topics.
Yeah, but what about raising the finger?
Yeah, and I think that's probably the same with how to interrupt. I think we can try your proposal with the chat that allows observers also to share an opinion or to bring up things.
Yeah. So since we have kind of this, you're just participating through observing, but in ensembles, generally everyone is engaged and participating. So the general answer there would be that either just ventilate, try to use finger in there, but it will be your turn within like 20 minutes. So you will have a chance to address this issue of yours. So when I've ensembled quite a lot in open source, when I feel this urge, I need to raise my concern about this style of coding or this way of doing things. I just take a note on the side, and I just know to remove the frustration from my head, put a note on the bench, and I will address this when it's my turn to navigate, kind of, especially when I won't get any airtime. But also when you worked for a while with a team in ensembling, this kind of frustration, you get more and more alignment, and you will get less and less this frustration with time. So I think we already did great for the first session. I think I'm really happy about it.
It's also much harder to do remotely than being in the same room.
It is.
Specifically this.
So it's even more important with this structured approach that I mentioned, I think, in remote. We have also, that's the same one. Hard to know when you interrupt. Yes, and then we had a more practical one. Can we make the handovers more smooth? Kind of handover manual commits is hard. Another thing to remember is Gitpod is easier. Maybe mob.sh. So switch time is always nice to lower. One thing I'm using in the current team I'm in coaching is just, we have a command line which just does git pull and git add, git commit, ensemble, git push, kind of. It's just a very simple command line or script. So, but we could try something else next time if you want to. Okay, so we're 5 minutes over time. Does anybody have a concern with sharing the retro too? Should I cut it off, the video? No? Fine with it? Thank you very much for the first session, and you're welcome to join more. There are more signups also, so maybe there will be more next time, I'll see. But what do you think about the size of 3? Should we be more next time or in Ensemble?
I'm still unclear about the role of the observer.
Yeah.
I want to be this arrogant, non-typing ensemble member, just like says, you can do this better, you can do that better. And actually, right,
And Lev, would you like to join? I mean, that's it's kind of you want to be participant here. You want to.
Yeah, I want everybody to type at some point. Like, I mean, the problem is we'll just might do one rotation in an hour.
Yeah. So our suggestion right now, we agreed on that you just put a chat message or you raise your finger too, even if you're just in the observing role. Would that be good enough for you?
I don't know. I'm worried that my suggestions will be, not as good as if I actually did it. If I did a turn in typing, my suggestions will get better. That's what I think.
Let's try to remember together that you will be in the ensemble next time.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Celebrate. I will send a mail with next some info of the next and the video recording and so. Have a great Friday and weekend.
You too. Thank you
very much.
You too.
Fun.
Thanks for setting this up, Olof.
Sure.
Bye.
Thanks for joining.
Bye.